Hey everyone, my name is Stevie Martinez and I'm the bass instructor here at Coastal Carolina University. I'm here to talk to you about some bass guitar pedals and ways we could achieve various sounds with those pedals. I'll be mainly discussing pedals used in a performance I put together while we were in quarantine over the summer. The video following the discussion features a bass trio with me playing each part and also a drummer friend of mine, Mr. TJ Marc. We will be performing Flyers Direct by the Fearless Flyers. In that video, I sought to cover the instruments of bass, baritone guitar, and the electric guitar along my bass guitar. Each part was recorded separately, and a separate combination of effect pedals were used to help create different ranges of pitch and timbre. Just so we're aware, before we start, us basses usually do not use many effects, our effect pedals. The reason because bass is to be clear and punctuated, and main job is to support the music. It is not to cause any disturbance in the mix. For example, if we add too much reverb to a bass, it could be a really muddy mix. But we can get away with using certain effects when we use them properly. So let's take a look at a couple of pedals I use for live performance and also just for fun. So here, one of my first pedals. So one of my first pedals I include on my pedal board is the Chromatic tuner. Okay, this is by Boss. Chromatic tuner. You also have many presets that go along with this. One thing I like about this versus a tuner that clips onto your bass guitar is that it can mute the music or the feed going into your amp or the board itself. So automatic mute as well as a tuner. So it works really, really well for live performance. Another pedal I like to use, especially using for stand-up, the stand-up bass right back here, is a bass EQ. Okay, this is very important, especially when you are traveling to other venues, have different stage plots, different stage setup. There's a lot of variation that can affect a sound of your bass and also the acoustic bass itself. For instance, a hollow stage versus a solid stage, a low roof versus a high roof, wooden room versus a steel room, hard floors versus carpet. These are all rooms I played in, and I had a lot of challenges to EQ, and this right here saves my life every time. Either it's too boomy, I could take away the lows, or if I'm not hearing my clarity, I could probably boost up a little bit of the highs and the mids. But each room's separate. You can also use it as a boost pedal, use like flatline or even out the whole thing, and just use the volume here. So you can use it as a boost, like for a solo, or if you have a different effect that's really bass heavy, you could take away some of the bass frequencies and also the volume, take away that, to take away the bass from the other pedal. So very, very unique, and it's just a really great tool in your pedal board. Now getting into the areas where I lose money when I start using these pedals. So those two pedals, which I show you, the Chromatic tuner and also the EQ, is pretty much the only pedals you need as a bass player if you're not using too many effects. Now you get into more of the outside realm, especially when you going into more experimental music. Here's one pedal I was introduced to by a friend of mine who I worked with while serving in the Army. The Bass Synth Wah by Digitech. It's a wonderful pedal. It's very unique. I don't use it too often. I think the only time I used it was actually in this video, and I've had it about for 2 years. But it's so much fun to mess around with. If you can see, if I show you up real close, we have 7 different presets that go along with it. And also you can have these other 3 to manipulate the range, the control, and also the sensitivity to that effect. So we'll hear this in a minute. Now another pedal that I really, really enjoy, especially not just for bass, but I heard it through guitars and violins and string instruments have a really good response to this pedal, is the Electro-Harmonix Pog. Okay, this is the nano version, nano meaning smaller. The bigger version is about twice as big, and it takes a lot of room on your pedal board. What's really fun about this pedal is that you have a straight feed of your dry signal, so your main instrument here, and then you also have your sub octave and then also an octave above. So you have an octave below, octave above, and then your main feed. So you actually have 3 different octaves coming through, and you can adjust the volume accordingly, which is really, really fun, especially if you want to hear a lot more higher ends. You can take away your main feed, cut off the sub, and then you just have this really kind of tinny high. So we'll listen to this. What's really fun about this as well too, with other octave split pedals, They're kind of tuned to a frequency of a note, like an A440 is supposed to sound like an A440 directly. And if they don't register, they kind of cut off that signal. What's fun about this pedal is that it includes all of that harmonic sequence. There's no notes that get cut off. Especially with the stand-up, I could glissando through one string and it'll capture every octave along with it. There won't be any cut with it. So it's a very outstanding pedal, and it's quite responsive as well. Now at the end of my pedal, along with others, I like to add this to the show. I've been adding this to my live show, especially with the cover bands I work with, to help kind of create this more of an ambiance and also atmosphere that goes along with this. So I have the digital delay, the Boss DD-7. Okay, I have this set on 3200 milliseconds for the delay, but you can manipulate all day long, effect level, feedback, and delay time. I also use what we have here, if you recognize this in piano class, a piano sustain pedal. You plug this right into your tempo expression pedal, and you can click tap the tempo of that delay. So I'll show you that here in a moment as well. Really fun to use, especially at the end of a kind of like a trash can ending. You usually sustain a note, trash, 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 cut it off, and then a cut off, and then you have this kind of sustained atmosphere right afterwards. So it creates a really cool atmosphere. But let's see how they sound. All right, so let's take a look at a couple of these pedals. I have the camera as well too, so you can see everything that I do here, right? So from the tuner down to the delay, let's just see what each of these, how each of these sound and how we can function through all of these. So again, chromatic tuner, right now it's off. Okay, I kind of have a slight grounding issue with this bass, so you're gonna hear a little buzz when I unmute this, so check it out. Yeah, you can hear that? It goes away when I actually ground it. So I fixed this about 5 times, and it's still an issue. So there's other things I could fix that. But just to see with that chromatic tuner, we see that registers. I'm a little flat with that G, so let's tune that up as we go through with this. So it responds really nicely, real quick, and you hear no noise. Another thing too is you see this microphone here to my left. If I look towards it, you hear me a little bit better, but you hear everything, the bass, going direct into it. So you hear a direct feed, just so you have a reference to what's going on. So going over to now, we have kind of a bass sound. Let's hear how this bass sounds without a little extra juice. So very nice, very kind of clear. I love this microphone. It speaks really nice. You can hear all the ranges. Okay, there's some artificial harmonics there. We'll be talking about that in a minute. Some natural harmonics. Fun stuff. So going over to the bass EQ now, I set it up where I can have a little bit more of a bass boost and also a little bit more of the highs. Took away more of the mids because this bass guitar has a very kind of, I'm still working on the mid section here with it. But let's hear a difference with it now too. Oh yeah, another thing too, if you're not listening to this with earphones or a speaker, you're doing yourself a disservice, okay? So get some good ears or anything that has really good frequency. So here's the bass equalizer. It's without it, now with it on. So we hear a little bit of boost. I'm gonna put that boost down a little bit. So we hear a little bit more of a bottom end. A little buzz there, oh. Without it. With a little bit more of a boost, I'll put a little boost up on it. Oh, that buzz's gonna drive me nuts. All right, so let's keep it going. So we have that effect. The effect I use on the song coming right after this video, I use the envelope filter, the preset that we have here. So without the effect, without the boost. Here's now with the effect. Yeah, very nice kind of MIDI, kind of a waka waka. Put a little boost behind that. Could put a little bit more volume since it took the volume down a little bit. So this is the kind of effect I use with the baritone guitar sound, where it sits right in the middle of the range of the bass and also the electric guitar. So a lot of the parts I used for it was kind of something like this. So kind of nice, kind of a baritone sound. You can even do like kind of a slap along with it to kind of create really cool timbres. And all that. Pretty cool stuff right there. So that in itself, let's see what kind of other presets sound like, just for the fun of it. Why not, since we're here? Sub octave. Let's take away the boosts so we know here what it sounds. Pretty fun stuff, and you can manipulate. So really fun stuff there. Let's just try out one more just so before we... Anybody remembers Taylor Swift? What's that one song? Trouble? Okay, we heard that, especially with that kind of new age dubstep. So can have a lot of fun with this pedal. Okay, we won't make any money with it as a bass player, but you could definitely have you know, just a lot of fun discovering different sounds and how you can manipulate that bass. Cool. Let's go over now to the Pog, which is really nice as well too. So right now I have everything at kind of mid, about 12 o'clock here. So everything's kind of halfway up. Let's just hear how it sounds that way. So you hear a main feed, you also hear a higher octave, and you also hear the sub octave. Now I can put a little bit more of that, my main feed in, take away a little bit more of those highs. That way you can kind of create more of an atmosphere on top with a little bit of boost underneath. A little bit more of the high, that way you can get a little clarity cut through the mix. Now the ways, especially what I did with this recording, I took away more of my feed. I took definitely away the sub octave, and now I can create the range of the electric guitar. And also using artificial harmonics, kind of create that really nice Corey Wong bend that's happening in that recording. So really fun stuff, and also just like I was saying earlier, of how it kind of captures all those different frequencies throughout the octave. Even bends, it sustains with that note. Some other octave pedals, it will cut in and out. It was really kind of a big disturbance. So it really works really well with violin, any non-fixed pitch that you can just manipulate between the different notes, even microtonal approaches as well if you really want to get into it. So there's the Pog. Let's see how it sounds with both of these right here. Yeah, kind of wild, isn't it? Put a little bit more depth to it. Put a little boost in it. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, now we're just having too much fun. All right, let's go over to the delay pedal. So one of my favorite pedals along with this, I also have, just gonna put that on mute, that way we don't have their buzz. So I also put the piano sustain pedal. Okay, you can also use this as a tap tempo. If we can see this right here, you see the red blinking light here. I'm gonna move this a little bit closer. So I can actually tap the tempo. But let's hear without it. Actually, let's put it on here. So we have, here's with the tempo. Let's turn that down there. Okay, I can tap a tempo just going with that. And the light blinks along with that tempo, so really easy to see if you're in time. If you need to adjust it, just quick tap. It fixes it right up. the effects level is pretty high on that one. So let's turn it down just a little bit. That way we kind of get more of, not so much in your face. Something that I use it for. This is kind of experimenting with. If you don't know this, turn up the effect level. That way it can really go throughout the whole time. Really fun stuff that you could use along with this. So I used the delay pedal just a little bit along with the Pog, especially with this tune that's coming up, the Fearless Flyers, just to create some nice little atmosphere. So kind of having something like this. And I took away the sub octave actually. So within all that mix, there's really some fun timbres and also kind of ranges that I worked with. So I really hope you enjoyed this video that's going to come right after. And not only just for the guitarists or the bass guitarists, you percussionists, woodwind players, brass players, you can also experiment with these pedals as well too by using a microphone and kind of manipulating that sound with it. So if you have any questions about that, or if you want to try any of that out, please let me know, okay? I'm here on campus. I'll be more than happy to have you come join me and just work on some pedals and see what we can discover. So I hope you enjoyed this performance. Hope you learned something out of this. And if anything, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.